Hey everyone, we decided to get out of the studio for this next one because we're looking at the brand new PlayStation Portable. No, it's not the NGP, it is the Xperia, or it's dubbed the PlayStation phone, right Dan?
This is the Xperia Play. Yeah.
This Xperia Play. Now,
the official brand.
Now this is my first time with it. Dan, you've had a few days with this already. Like, take us through it. So it is basically a PlayStation on a phone, is that right?
It is. They've tried to scale the experience down accordingly. Apparently the design layout, the controller itself has been designed by the same guys who did the DualShock. So it's a lot like the PSP Go from a layout perspective. You've got the shoulder buttons on the back side. You've got your iconic 4 face buttons as well as a D-pad and these nifty little virtual analog sticks.
Yeah, tell me about this. It basically looks like just little metal nubs in the middle here.
They look like it. I've been told, and from my experience, I went in assuming that they'd be digital versions of analog sticks and you'd be able to kind of flick down, and playing FIFA I was trying to do right stick stuff, but it doesn't work exactly that way, and as you move further away from the center it will actually gain in sensitivity. So some of the games, there's a zombie game on here where it's one of those twin stick shooter spin games, and to turn you'll need to just kind of swipe across rather than turn as you would a normal analog.
Now, obviously, there's no UMD or any other thing in here, so basically you have to download all your games for this, is that right?
Yeah, it's an Android device, so it's a smartphone first and foremost, and then on top of that, there's, just by sliding it up into the open position, there's the Xperia Play games that you'll see here, which are the ones that are already installed on the system. It'll come with a handful of some known, some unknown stuff. So on our one, there was the Bruce Lee, which is kind of a Street Fighter style martial arts game. FIFA 10, which is pretty good for a phone game again, and then you'll find there's a whole bunch of referral stuff as well, games that are Android platform, and you'll be able to get them through the marketplace. Stuff like Sims 3 was on there as well, and so was the Star Battalion game, and then you'll find all the stuff that you'd find somewhere else, like Fruit Ninja and Age of Zombies, and there's a PES game, and Gameloft is supporting it really heavily as well.
So basically anything on the Android store you'll be able to play on this, plus the Sony stuff? Is that right?
So they've got this nifty little search field up the top. So as developers create stuff that's specially designed for the button layout, you'll be able to search for that. And it'll go in, we can't get it here, but it's stuff that is optimized specifically for that layout, and will work better with the analogs than, say, just a touch screen, rather than have to put your greasy paws all over the screen and cover what it is you're looking at.
You've been playing this for the last couple of days now, I believe. How does it feel to you? Is it cramped, or does it feel pretty good? Like, what's your opinion?
It feels a bit like the PSP Go. We were just looking at the specs, and it's a 4-inch screen, so the PSP Go was 3.8, so they're fairly similar in terms of space and layout. As I mentioned, it's a slider like the PSP Go was. Content is probably my biggest concern more than anything else. There's already there'll be at least one PS1 game loaded on the console, which is at this stage Crash Bandicoot, and they've said that they'll be releasing regularly, whatever that ends up being, and they'll be about $6 each, which is pretty reasonable for considering they sell them for around 20 odd. I think it is on the PSN if you want to download them for your home console. My only real concern so far is that there's a good range of stuff here, and as I mentioned, Gameloft is really heavily supporting it, but at the same time I went looking as an iPhone user for the stuff that I've been playing on the iPhone, and a lot of it is either completely missing or has been blatantly ripped off and replaced with these third-party versions. So excuse me. Tiny Wings, for example, doesn't exist, but somebody's created a Tiny Wings clone.
Micro Wings.
Yeah, and I think it's called Jube or something.
Okay.
And it's exactly the same game, except that it's not called Tiny Wings, but someone's tagged it that way.
Jube sounds kind of racist.
Yeah, it does. But there's so my real concern is that I'm loving the Android as an alternative to, and we'll have a full story up on site soon about the switch between iPhone and Android. But at the moment, I think it's a bit of a wait and see. They've said that there's a whole bunch of first-party stuff coming from Sony. I mentioned FIFA, there's a Tetris game. Every phone has to have a Tetris game. There's going to be Worms from EA, Doodle Jump, which is an iPhone game, obviously. Asphalt 6 and Assassin's Creed. Spider-Man's coming as well. Splinter Cell, Brothers in Arms. Guitar Hero game, which you were just having a play of. I mentioned Age of Zombies. There's also some of the Sony computer entertainment stuff like Siphon Filter, Medieval, Rallycross, Cool Borders, Destruction Derby, and Jumping Flash.
So it's all PS1 era stuff at this stage. Yeah.
Yeah, they're still cagey in terms of whether you'll be able to share content across devices, and whether there's talk that the NGP is going to have some form of Android integration as a PlayStation certified device, but whether you'll be able to share them across those, they're really cagey, and whether this thing's actually grunty enough to handle PS2 graphics kind of remains to be seen.
But does it look good to you so far, what you've played?
Yeah, look, the gameplay is good, and the cool thing is that developers will be able to optimize for the analog stick. So if you're willing to pony up for one of these things and you don't want to have your fingers all over the screen, you can do it, and the players can also remap the experience so that they can do it in a custom way with the hardware controls, which feel quite good.
Now, Dan, this isn't actually out yet. Has Sony said when it's coming out in this market, and have they priced it at all? Or?
They've given a vague indication that it's going to be May, June this year. No indication of pricing at all, but they have said that it's going to be available on all the major telcos with Telstra, Optus, and Vodafone. If you're after a white version of exactly the same thing, that'll be Vodafone exclusive.
And that's it for the Xperia Play. Check out GameSpot for more real soon.